Looks good.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. I got all the notes. I think we're good to go.
I think we are too.
Here we go. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com, and welcome to RAWtalk episode number 51, Made in America.
We're
going to talk about why it's called Made in America coming up a little later as Steven and I photograph the Made in America Festival. It's the second year they've done it, and it's going to be here, I guess, until 2017. They extended it.
Oh,
was that in your photo news? Your music news on the radio?
No.
That was a different channel. That was your other channel.
Was that confirmed? Like that's
I think it
recent?
was originally 3 years.
Okay.
And now they extended it till 2017.
I did not know that.
Which is interesting because then I have to make that decision next year whether I want to do it again. But we'll
talk about
I'll
that.
make a note. Should I do it again?
I'm gonna say you're gonna want to do it, and then you're not. You're gonna hate it when you're there.
Complain all day. I got it. We'll get to all that coming up. What do I have? Oh, by the way, I believe that our numbers, if they are correct, account for over 1 million combined downloads or YouTube plays for FroKnowsPhoto RAWtalk.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's split. There's more downloads of the podcast, which is great. More audio downloads than people who have watched the video.
Interesting.
But it's not too far off.
I would almost think these days it'd be the opposite.
It's pretty close.
But that's cool.
You got to remember, a lot of people are listening in their car.
Yeah.
A lot of people are listening when they're working out. A lot of people are working and listening, so they're technically not working. They're just listening to us, taking money from their employers and stuff. Oh, by the way, if you see some camera shake today from any of the three cameras, we're still on the 5-year construction plan outside on I-95. That's right behind us. You can see it sometimes when I'm sitting at my desk. But the jackhammer is out in full effect. Woke me up at 7 in the morning, shaking my whole building, which can't be good for a 100-year-old building. There it is.
Yep.
My stove is vibrating. My balls are vibrating. And, sometimes that can be good, but anyway, we'll move on. We've got photo news coming up. We've got some other things to talk about, some interesting videos that I've put up. We've got some ads, just small ads that we normally do. We've got a discussion about the Made in America. And we got a gear of the week because I got something to throw on the table. And a recap of Shawn Corrigan because I assisted him this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember I was like, hey, Shawn, I should assist you sometime.
There goes the crazy shaking.
Yeah, let's forget about it,
anyway.
So I told him, did you interrupt me, Steven?
I did.
I did.
I'm done interrupting you.
I believe I did. All right, you done?
I'm done.
You done interrupting, Steven?
Okay, I'm done.
I can't stand this interruption stuff.
Been waiting a long time for that moment.
Oh, really? All right. So yeah, over 1 million downloads or video plays both combined, which is great. And we appreciate it. So thank you guys very much. Let's jump into some photo stories, and I will let you know that I will interrupt you in between to give a little pluggy McPluggerson when we go. So, Steven?
Yes, sir.
Is there still no music?
No music yet. Well, we've got a ton of emails, and I literally just haven't sat down to check them out yet. And we have to discuss them ourselves, too. So if I haven't gotten back to you, it's just because I'm lazy, and I have a lot more things going on right now. So I will get back to you, I swear. Keep sending them in if you have them. And I keep telling myself, like, before we do a RAWtalk every week, I'm like, I'm going to get them. I'm going to sit down and listen to them all. And I just always forget.
Okay.
So
Steven, Stephen, at FroKnowsPhoto.com. 15 seconds. No more audio than that. Must be made by yourself.
Yep. Copyright
not
free.
Copyright. And Steven, news? Photo news.
First up, we have HDMI 2.0 has been announced, which has been long in the making. The new connection standard will have a bandwidth capacity of up to 18 gigabytes per second, which is pretty insane. Gigabits per second, however you want to call it.
I believe it's gigabits when it's...
Okay, gigabits per second. So basically up to 4K video at 60 frames per second that it can send through, which is crazy. So those Ultra HD TVs that are going to be eventually coming out, this will now make sense because you'll have those new HDMI 2.0 standard.
Is it the same size as the original?
That's what's nice is that the physical connector has been unchanged, so it should be backward compatible, all that stuff. So you shouldn't have an issue.
So it's like USB 1, 2, and 3. They're all the same.
Yeah, well, USB 3.0 I think has some extra connectors, but it's still physically the same.
But it works on the USB 2s also.
Correct. Sorry guys, I'm trying to also monitor.
Yeah, let me tell people that.
Yeah.
Steven's going to be in this RAWtalk episode probably, well, the whole time. So that's why we've moved the Zoom over to here so that we don't have to ship him out.
Yeah.
So
and I'm just trying to watch levels at the same time as talk. So it's a little harder. But anyway, adding to that, it also supports 32 audio channels. So that's pretty cool. So I don't know how many times you're going to need 32 audio channels.
How many audio channels do I use now?
Well, 7.1 is probably the highest you'll get up to with surround sound and stuff. But 32 is,
so
I mean, you never know when this 4K video becomes a standard instead of like say 1080p, maybe 32 audio channels will become a standard or something
then you
crazy.
Need 32 speakers.
Exactly. Yeah. If you really want to
immerse yourself in the
listen
audio.
to everything. Yeah.
I do. I want to hear the Beatles in 32 channels.
The grass crunching, the clouds moving through the sky. Can you hear that? I don't know. But some more rumors this week. Moving on, we have Nikon is rumored to be putting out an upgrade to the D600 already with the D610, which supposedly is supposed to fix the sensor dust, the
oil,
little specks, all that stuff, whatever it is.
Oil spots.
So apparently there'll be no major upgrades, just basically fixing that sensor issue, similar to what they did with the SB900, but this time like with the heating issue, and they put the SB910. So hopefully the sensor will be fixed in the D610. Also rumored to be putting out the D5300. Same with this, no major upgrade. Nikon rumors believes it'll include Wi-Fi, it'll have GPS enabled, that kind of stuff. So not really huge news, but still good for those waiting for an upgrade to that D610.
Yeah.
If they've been waiting out for that.
Well, we'll see. I don't do much with rumors because I work with Nikon.
Yeah.
You know that. They call me and I get stuff, but I don't know anything about any of that. Nor would I mention it if I did.
I was going to say.
But no, I know nothing about those things, honestly.
Okay.
I would love to know sooner than later, but who knows? We'll see. I know I have a call with them, and the stuff that they're talking to me today about has nothing to do with this type of stuff.
Now, don't you know some people that had like issues with the D600? Like wasn't
Well, I know that Brandon at Allen's, he had his camera. I think he had to return it twice.
I thought he said 3 times last time
Maybe
we
he
talked.
said it 3, but he had to return it because of the oil spots. Yeah, it's going to happen, and I didn't make a huge deal out of it that everybody was making such a big freaking deal.
Yeah.
Oil spots. Look, I got a spot. And then what happened, because they thought that they had oil spots, then everybody thought that every speck of dust was abnormal.
Spot. Yeah.
But that's freaking normal. If you look at my D4 sensor, when I shoot it, say F16, which is rare, or F22,
when you're stopping down
and I'm shooting the sky, you're going to see smudges and oil spots, and you're going to see hair. Well, you won't see so much hair, but you'll see black speckles everywhere.
Well, they say to get it cleaned. How often? Send it
about
back.
every year.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You know, but what I can do is over at Photo Plus each year, Nikon has their tech people there, and they just clean your camera for you if you're an NPS member.
And what, it takes 20 minutes now to take apart that D4.
Well, that's if they take it fully apart. This is just cleaning the sensor.
Moving on, we have a photographer.
Did you really you wanted to move me on?
I did.
So you just moved it on like that?
I thought you were done. It seemed like your statement was finished.
Yeah, but usually I'm the one who says move on.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Oh, we're okay? Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
A photographer named Jeremy Palace showcases how he shoots Google Street View indoors in a new video that he put out, specifically called Google Business. So when you shoot indoors, if you're doing Google Street View, it's called Google Business, which I don't really know why, but...
Does he have anything to do with Google?
He does. Well, he's kind of like a freelancer, but they're called Google Trusted Photographers.
Oh.
They're not official Street View photographers.
Oh, see, when you said he like shoots rooms, I thought like, what, did he shoot his own house with Google Street View? But you mean things like museums and...
Well, he specifically does business, which is why I guess they call it Google Business Trusted Photographer. He goes into businesses apparently and says like, hey, we work for Google Street View. Do you want to showcase your business on the Google Street View?
I mean, that would be cool for stadiums, for Major League Baseball and NHL and NFL and soccer and all those different things, and women's basketball. Can't let out the women or whatever. Just any stadium around. It would be cool to have the street view of in there. Plus, that's great for ticket people who want to see what location their seats are at. That's good for that. He
made it seem like that apparently Google Street View has their official people with the backtrackers and all that kind of stuff, the huge backpacks. Those ones go into those kind of buildings, like the more public kind of buildings, where the little local businesses, that kind of stuff, it seems like he does that.
I wonder when they're going to the White House.
That would be cool.
And Air Force One.
Air Force One, take a tour inside that. That'd be really cool. But yeah, so he's called a Google Business Trusted Photographer. Now what he does is he uses an 8mm lens. It looked like he used the 8mm Sigma lens, since I actually have the same one. That's why I thought it was. He uses a Canon 7D, and he basically has a normal tripod, but with a swivel center for 360 degrees, and pretty much just takes a, like I said, 360 degree panoramic shot of inside that place every like 5 feet, and stitches it all together, puts it on Google Street View, and then they can check out the local business, step out of the car, and go inside and take a tour of it. So it's good and bad, I guess, for people that want to check it out.
Sure.
So Moving on, we have Harman Technology, the people behind Ilford. They've opened up an Ilford photo lab in California, which I actually thought most photo labs were done or at least being closed. So this is some pretty big news. This means that high quality black and white processing and printing services are going to be available again by mail to all of North America from this lab. The lab is able to work with black and white, C41 color negatives, E6 transparency film in both 35mm and 120 formats. And prints will be delivered on Ilford photo paper, and turnaround time is about 2 to 3 days, they're saying. And prices start at about $16 per roll with upgrades, enlargements, digital scans, all that
digital
stuff
scans,
extra.
Yeah, that would be good to have just uploads. Mm-hmm. Then you get the prints if you want the prints.
Exactly, yeah. So all that stuff's going to be extra if you want. So that's pretty cool. I didn't think that they'd be opening any new labs, if anything, closing. Well,
it makes sense because not many places do black and white simply. So you have to send to places. I have places locally that my buddy Jim at Newtown Camera, he does it. He hand does it. Like I take it over and he just rolls it. The proper way of doing it, the way that I used to do it in college. But he did it. It's pretty cool that they're opening that. It's good for Ilford. It keeps their name out there. It keeps the black and white going.
Yeah.
And people are starting to. Some people that have never done film want to try it.
Yeah. And
then they see what it's like to get all that noise and grain.
I think what they had said is that apparently one of their labs that they recently opened up in Europe is doing so well that's why they thought they'd bring it back to North America, and that's why they did.
All right. Before you jump to the next thing, I'm going to talk about Rode, because they are the sponsor this week. Rode microphones. We've been using the broadcaster mics for, 2 months now at least. What, did you hear a bunch of cracking outside?
No, that was just a real big vibration.
Yeah, but what's good about the cracking is you probably can't hear it because we have the low-pass filters on. Anyway, what Rode wanted me to let you guys know, other than we've been using them, get a free copy of Red Giant's Pluralize 3 audio syncing software valued at $199 when you buy a Rode Video Mic Pro or Stereo Video Mic Pro from any authorized Rode dealer. Offer only valid for purchases made this month. That's this month. We are in September. So until what? Was that like
I like your announcer voice.
That was my announcer voice. Go, go, go. Miss out and it's gone. Don't wait too long or it will be gone. So anywhere you can get Rode stuff, Rode's website, pick up one of those mics. You get a $199 software for free that you use, Pluralize 3. It's going to help you sync up your audio. And, one of the mics that you could buy is only $200 anyway. So you're getting a $200 mic and you're getting a $200 program for free.
That's awesome.
But we've liked our Rodes. We've got a review coming up, an actual review. It's not that we don't do sponsored reviews. For anybody who thinks that we do a sponsored review, we do not. We review whatever we want, however we want to review it. If we like it, we tell you we like it. If we don't like things about it, we tell you we don't like things about it. But we have a Rode review coming up that we already filmed. I got to put that out live soon. But other than that, pretty damn happy with these things.
Yeah, I love them.
And you use Pluralize each week to sync our audio.
I use Pluralize each week, and I use Rode mics at home. And I mean, that's not really a plug. That's what I've used it before we even had these.
And you use that on the radio station?
I use it for the radio station specifically, yeah.
Right. How are we doing on time over there?
We're at about 13 minutes.
Oh, so I don't need to reset your camera yet?
Not yet. You got about another 5 minutes or so.
Thank you, Rode, anyway. So check them out, guys. They help us keep this going each week. So, Steven, more news.
More news. We have DxO Mark. They have ranked the Canon 70D. So take this with a grain of salt because I know you're not a huge fan of their...
No, don't take it with a grain of salt. A lot of people like following DxO Mark's results and, hey, let me go shoot here. First off, hold on.
Rant.
No, well, let me just say this. Don't give me shit for having an opinion about DxO Mark. They serve a purpose. They are a business. They put this stuff out there so that they can sell a software to correct discrepancies in whatever the files are that you get from the lenses that you're shooting with. I think it's a bunch of crap, personally, that people want to sit around in a studio environment and shoot freaking charts and try to rate stuff. Who gives a shit? Go out and shoot god-darn pictures. See, I kept that clean. GD pictures. I almost didn't keep it clean. I don't know. I don't even know if that's clean. Just stinking pictures. Go out and shoot. And stop worrying about every little nuance of is this sharp? Because some of the greatest photos in the world may not be totally sharp, but it's the moment that they captured that is what people remember. So go ahead, Steven. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I'll apologize to that one.
Anyway, like I said, they've ranked the Canon 70D, and it's to them.
All right. I apologize. All apologies. How's that song go for Nirvana?
Nirvana?
Yeah.
The Kurt Cobain?
Do you know what I don't like about Nirvana?
What?
All the songs, they keep playing the same songs over and over.
Yep.
There's nothing new.
Why would there be anything new?
Exactly.
Kurt Cobain isn't around anymore.
But the problem is stations like your station play the same old songs. Go and play some deep cuts. There's some really good stuff on there.
I'm not the one to talk to.
All right, go ahead, Steven.
We have, again, it's to them the highest rated APS-C sensor from Canon, which is good.
The Canon 70D.
70D, but it only scored 2 extra points, though, than all the other 18 megapixel APS-C sensors that they pretty much put everywhere.
Oh, darn.
Only 2 points. So improvements in color depth, dynamic range, ISO performance are saying that it has. Also has the highest pixel density in the APS-C lineup. So high detail rendering should be improved overall in this specific camera.
And none of it will
sensor.
be noticeable to anybody unless
Pretty
you
much,
sit there and do a
pixel
chart
peeping
thing.
and
Speaking of, Allen's has them in stock. Borrow Lenses is sending me a 70D to play with. I'm going to go shoot the Silvertide concert coming up on September 14th, which I was originally going to do with an iPhone because I really want to do that. But it's a good chance to, it would probably be more successful for us to make a review of the 70D.
Is this the TLA where that lighting is pretty terrible usually at that venue too?
Sometimes.
So that'd be a good thing for
I'm going to try it out. But they're going to send me some of those STM lenses because I want to try that focusing thing, because I think a concert's a good chance for me to push it to its limits. I don't need to go shoot landscapes and portraits. That's not my style. I'll push it to its limits. I'll shoot video, I'll shoot stills, and I'll try out that autofocus.
Nice. And you're going to have that whole pretty much set, right?
What do you
mean?
Whole
show?
Yeah, I get to shoot the whole show.
You're not limited to 3? Cool.
And I get to shoot before the show, after the show, do whatever I want.
Cool. Do you want to reset these cameras? And
I will
reset
reset the cameras. You keep going.
Sounds good. We have Sci-Fi's...
Well, by the way, I can't interrupt you when I'm standing up.
I know. That's why I'm going to speed through this real quick. Sci-Fi's Heroes of Cosplay show. It's this new show on Sci-Fi that actually I checked out the other day. It's not too bad. They've been accused of copyright infringement. So photographer Brian Humphrey says the show used his photos of cosplayers pretty much without asking permission or payment or any of that. They didn't even mention him. Humphrey and his business BGZ Studio are asking for $30,000 in compensation, while NBC, who owns the show and Sci-Fi, wants to pay nothing and still continue to use them pretty much.
Can you explain cosplay?
Cosplay, I don't know exactly what it is, but from watching the show is basically you dress up like your favorite kind of character or your favorite video game player or movie role or whatever it may be. It's kind of like Comic-Con.
So it's emulation?
I guess, yeah.
You're like emulating, or you're just paying homage, which I think you can do. I think you can do something like that. It's whatever Saturday Night Live gets away with, you know?
Exactly. And they do competitions in the show, and they try and they spend like months making these outrageous outfits that really, either it's like a made up thing or it's actual person, like Beetlejuice's Lydia or something like that or whatever. But there's a scan of the invoice that he's asking for the $30,000 online, so you can check that out and see exactly how he broke it down. He's trying to settle it out of court. He's asking the invoice to be filled by the end of September, specifically September 24th.
And do you know what they're going to do with that invoice?
Rip it up.
They're going to pull down their pants, they're going to bend over, and they're going to wipe their tuchus with it.
Their tuchus. An official from NBC, though, contacted, who is it? Brian specifically, saying that NBC had made a deal with the cosplayers who claimed co-authorship of the photos and therefore had every right to license out the images as pleased.
Right.
From the rep.
So he may have a suit against his own people,
exactly.
not NBC.
That's what it seems like.
Because then it's misrepresentation if people said that they had, but they didn't have.
Yep. That's pretty much what they were saying, too. And if the invoice isn't fulfilled by September 24th, then he's going to take them to court and I guess see what happens from there.
And waste more money.
Waste more money, pretty much, and probably still not get paid.
Exactly.
Moving on, this is pretty insane. Acer released the first smartphone to take 4K video. It's called the Acer Liquid S2. It sports a Snapdragon 800 chip which clocks in at 2.2 gigahertz and is supported by 2 gigs of RAM, 13 megapixel sensor. I mean, this thing's like a freaking mini computer. 16 gigs of onboard memory, which
how is
I
16
find ridiculous.
Gigs even enough to do 4K video?
You'll do like a minute. I think it's like every minute or something. You get like it's like
but
16
maybe they're
gigs.
compressing the crap out of it.
Well, they're saying it'll accept up to 128 gigabyte SD cards, but still, even 128 gigs at 4K, you're not going to get much out of that. Maybe probably like a 20-minute video or something.
I mean, you know that we do this at 1080. We do an hour, and that's over 16 gigs. It's 16 to 20 gigs on just for like
so
an
times
hour.
That by 4.
Well, yeah, it's 4 times the resolution.
That's what I'm saying.
Which means that it's 4 gigs for an hour, which is 2 gigs for a half an hour, which is 10 gigs for a half an hour.
You lost me already.
And then it's like 5 gigs for 15 minutes. 5 gigs for 15 minutes. and then cut that in half. 7.5 minutes is 2.5 gigs.
It's basically a ton of gigs.
Well, yeah, but who needs a cell phone? I mean, yes, the phones are going to go into like the Apple's going to release a phone that's going to do 4K video,
which that's supposed to be announced next week.
But they're not announcing 4K video now.
No. I'm just saying.
But I'm just saying
5S
it's going to
5C.
happen. The phones keep doing this. The cameras are going to get better and smaller. It's just the progression that's going on. And speaking of, are we up to that news story yet?
We are right now.
Okay.
So the final news story, it's officially confirmed what we've been talking about the past few weeks. Sony's long-rumored lens camera has been announced. It comes in two different models, QX10, which is going to be $249. It's the lower end model, and the higher end model, the QX100, which is about $500. Now, only shoots JPEG.
Yeah, it does.
I was upset about that.
Well, when I was reading the specs, I was like, does it shoot RAW? Does it shoot RAW? And then I got down to the bottom. I was like,
yes.
I was like, oh no. I was like, I audibly gasped and was like, it doesn't shoot RAW.
What were they thinking?
I don't
I guess
know
it's because it's Wi-Fi and it probably stores on the...
From the specs, you don't have to ship it to the camera.
Yeah.
Why don't they just shoot
built-in
both?
memory, yeah.
You know, save it to the card.
They should give you that option. But some more specs to go along with it. 1080p video, f1.8 Zeiss lens, semi-manual controls, not full manual. The smaller, lower-end one sports a 18-megapixel sensor. The higher one is the 20.2 megapixel sensor, which is the same as the RX100 Mark II.
It's considered a 1-inch sensor.
1-inch sensor.
Which is a pretty nice size little chunk of sensor.
And the other is the 2/3 smaller sensor.
It's 1/2.3.
However you say
whatever that is. That's like a 0.5.
And
I don't know.
I think the lower end model, I think it ranges from ISO 100 to 6,000, and the higher end, the QX100,
6,400 or 6,000.
I think it's at 6,000, which was odd. Now this is right when it got announced, so maybe they just wrote it down wrong.
Yeah.
The higher end model goes ISO 100 to 12,800, which was pretty much expected. It's kind of the standard these days. There's a promotional video online now, which showing it in action, and it was pretty well done.
Yeah.
Except the pictures look pretty horrendous.
Well, it's the thing. It's like the promotional video made me feel good. Like it was a cool video. It's like, oh, this is something new. So this is a unique thing. This is the first time. Well, I can't say first time. This is something new. It's a new market. It's a new idea to put out there in the mass production, by a massive company like Sony. They're putting out a lens that attaches to your to your phone.
Yeah.
And the phone acts as the screen and the computer and a lot of the brains. But what they've done here is they put a nice size sensor into one of them. It has a zoom. It has a shutter button on the side. It doesn't shoot in full manual. It does aperture priority and does some exposure compensation. You can't tap to focus on the back of the screen. It has internal memory on the camera on board, so you can shoot and store there and then send it to the phone itself and then upload to Instagram or wherever you want to do it. It's just another device to be creative. Now keep in mind that don't start ripping things like, oh, it doesn't shoot RAW, because it may do that in the future. This is a first generation product, just like the iPod was a weird first generation product with some weird ass plug on the bottom. I don't know if you even remember that.
Yeah, I still have one.
An actual wheel that turned. We're talking about the 5 gig one.
No, I have the original one.
Really? With the turning
2001 when it came out, or
with
whatever.
The turning wheel?
Yeah.
And they had a 5 and a 10.
Physical turning wheel, yeah.
Right. It was like a 5. It was like a FireWire attachment. But anyway, this is a first generation. If people start purchasing it, they'll keep continuing to make it. There's one in black. There's one in white so that you can use it for your iPhones. It's for any smartphone. They talked about lag time. I was reading a little bit up on DP Review. They talked about with the newer phones, perfectly fine. With the older phones, you get some lag with your video. So it does video. It does stills. It's interesting. Will people carry this around along with their phones? I don't know.
And it is pretty bulky, though, especially the 10 times zoom one.
Well, yeah, you're not putting it in your pocket anymore.
Yeah.
So it's again, should we carry... Again, though, if you had to carry around one smaller thing and you're a girl and you have a purse and you can pop this thing in a hard case and you put it in and you're like, hey, babe, can I see your camera? Can I see the camera thing? And she'd be like, okay, babe, here's your camera thing.
Here you go, babe.
And then you attach it to the thing and then you start taking pictures. It looked creative. Like what I liked about the video, which we have up on the website, is that it's like they turn it around, they shoot themselves, but
like
they can
selfies,
see what they're doing. They can slide it through a hole to get some pictures. But unfortunately, the screen grabs that they used for pictures just made it look like it shot terrible quality images. But it's another way to be creative. It's another way to express yourself in photography. So it's a good thing for photography.
And the other thing is, I mean, if as far as the quality goes, if you're just using this for say Instagram or quick apps on the go, it doesn't really matter that much if it only shoots JPEG or if it's not the highest quality that you can expect from. It's pretty much an upgrade to your camera phone's camera.
Well, it's a big upgrade, especially with the 1-inch sensor. So that's going to be an interesting camera. Will I spend $500 for this? No. I'm trying to get in touch with Sony, trying to get one here so that we can play with it and then send it back. I don't need to keep it. But I would only want the one with the 1-inch sensor.
Yeah. Me too.
If you want to do street photography, it's going to be cool for that. It's a great idea. It's an idea that my team of small people worked on over a year and a half ago. We started the process of coming up with a certain camera that basically was this. It was a sensor in a separate box that talks to the camera, and boom, we didn't go forward with it because there was a lot of reasons why we didn't do that. But it's probably a good thing because Sony came out with theirs, and it would have probably pummeled us because I don't know how you compete with that.
And just adding to it, you also need to use the Play Memories app that they're supplying, apparently. Yeah. And that'll be able to connect to the actual camera wirelessly. So.
Yeah. It's a cool concept. What do you guys think? You going to pick one up? If you were going to pick one up, is it the $250 one or the $500 one? Let us know down below in some comments.
And that's it for photo news this week.
That's it?
That is it. Actually, we went on for about 25 minutes. So we had a lot this week. We had more stories than normal.
Well, plus we wanted to talk a little bit more. We talked a little bit in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I want to remind you guys about Nikon Allen's-a-Palooza or Allen's Nikon-a-Palooza, whichever way. I mean, Allen's like...
He still hasn't figured it out.
No, he did figure... He liked Allen's Nikon-a-Palooza, which is good, but Nikon is sponsoring Allen's-a-Palooza.
Nikon Allen's-a-Palooza.
Nikon Allen's-a-Palooza, because Nikon's... Or Allen's Nikon-a-Palooza. They both sound good. Which one do you guys like? Hashtag it. And by the way, you cannot do dashes or whatever, hyphens or whatever you told me you can't do. You can't do that on Twitter and hashtags. Oh, well. I was wrong.
I was going to say, I knew you couldn't.
Whatever, Steven. You should never listen to yourself.
Yeah.
But anyway, what are you guys going to do? What do you like better? Hashtag Nikon Allen's-a-Palooza, all one word, or hashtag Allen's Nikon-a-Palooza. But let me give you information about it. It is September 21st, 2013 from 11 to 4 at Allen's Camera, which is...
Starts with 11, right?
What?
Isn't it 11?
Yeah,
something?
I said 11 to 4.
Oh.
What did you think I said?
No, aren't you talking about the address you're going to just say?
I'm thinking of the address.
I thought it was 11 something.
No, that's my address.
Oh.
It's 1401 New Falls Road.
That's it.
So Allen's Camera is 1401 New Falls Road in Levittown, PA. You can go to allenscamera.com to check out their address so that you can find us. There are people coming in from all around the country to come hang out. Why? Because there's going to be 10% off all used gear. Any used gear from any company that is in the store will be 10% off. We're going to be giving away a Nikon D7100, a Nikon AW100. There's going to be other prizes, other discounts, and other giveaways that you must be present for. We're going to try and do something for the people at home as well. If you can't make it, we'll try to do a giveaway, but it's definitely not going to be as good as a D7100.
Oh, yeah.
And that's going to be it. It's going to be, there's a taco truck. So the first 200 people will get a free, was it 200 or 300?
I don't remember.
I think it was, whatever. The first certain amount.
I thought you said 200.
I think it was 200. If you get there, you're going to get a free taco meal. They're really good. There's 3 tacos you can choose from. They're all pretty damn tasty because I tried one of them.
I want a taco right now.
What kind of taco, Steven?
Any kind of taco, actually.
Anyway, that is Nikon Allen's-a-Palooza or Allen Nikon's-a-Palooza. Nikon-a-Palooza. Check it out. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'll be there. Don't forget, I'll be doing 2-minute rapid-fire critiques as well as 2-minute whatever questions you want to ask about photography. So whatever you like, you're going to sit there. We'll schedule that out so that you can sit there and get me talking to you. So it should be fun. And speaking of stuff, Flash Guide coming soon. Working.
Yes.
We're really happy. You just saw the graphic, right?
Looks awesome.
The graphic's pretty cool. It plays off of the current logo, but it may just, add a flash at the top, which is pretty cool.
Maybe.
No, it does. It adds a flash at the top. Our goal is to have it out by the end of September, if not slightly earlier. I just want to make sure that everything is put together properly. The video is in the can. The DVDs are about to be pressed, and the digital files will be going online shortly. So we're getting there, and everybody has their testimonials in that has watched the video, and they really are digging it. I keep learning from it. Every time I go back, just because it's the basics, man. Whenever you start with the fundamentals, you can go back a million times and watch it and just keep learning. That's what I do. Even Adam, we made the damn thing together.
Yeah.
And he's like, I keep going back and just, it refreshes the fundamentals or just teaches you the fundamentals the first time. And you're like, oh, that makes sense because it gets you in the mindset. I mean, that's what photography is about. And understanding flash is the same thing. If you understand the fundamentals, what cause and effect is, what if I change my shutter speed, this is going to happen. If I change my ISO, this is going to happen. Or if I just do this with my flash, that's going to happen. That's the fundamentals, and that's what this guide teaches. And I don't know, it's a great thing to have.
I like the color template too.
The color, what, the blue and the pink, purple?
Oh, I was gonna see if people could guess it.
Oh well. Anyway, blue and purple. So there's a couple of things to talk about. We're not going to fly solo this week because we have a lot of stuff to talk.
Yes.
I put up the truth about photography. It's a discussion that I had, or a speech I gave at Antonelli Institute. If you're on the FroKnowsPhoto email list, you'll be getting, you would have already gotten this email, but it's up on the website. If you type in Antonelli, you'll see it. It's an hour and 40-minute long discussion of me telling it like it is, the truth about photography to photo students. It resonates with everybody because it's about photography, but give it a listen. People are really enjoying it, and that is up there. And another thing that we have is we live in an amazing age, or an amazing time. I wrote a long article. It has no video or anything. I actually just wrote it. And it just talks about how you can be your own boss, and how you can make your own decisions, and how you can just do anything that you would like to do and bring it to market and find a following. I talked in there about Ryan Connors. I didn't really mention her by name, but Kilkenny Cat. She does paintings and ornaments and things like that, and has an Etsy store, and supports her family through that. And then my friend Shalene, she makes these little robots that people are buying for their cake toppers, and it's global. And she just had an ad that Motorola contacted her.
Oh, wow.
They saw one of her robots, and I was in Penn Station and I saw her ad where there's a robot in the ad. Huh. It's sitting on the dashboard, and it matches the color of the phone. It's just, they called her and she made money off of that. But you all these tools are at your hands today. You have Kickstarter, you have Etsy. If you have ideas, take those ideas and do something with it. You can be your own boss. You just have to work your freaking ass off. There are no shortcuts in this. There are no shortcuts. Yeah. Anybody who thinks that the 4-hour work week is true, you have to work 80-hour work weeks to get to a 4-hour work week.
Which will be 20 years later.
Right.
After you worked your ass off.
Because you have that book, The 4-Hour Body, the 4-hour... It just plays on people thinking that they like 6-minute abs. Are you going to get abs in 6 minutes?
Yeah.
No, you got to work other things, because if you eat an ton of stuff, you're going to totally not show abs in 6-minute abs. I'm having trouble with abs because I love my tasty cakes. I mean, how do my abs look,
Philly's
Steven?
own tasty cakes.
Are they there?
Not really.
No, right there. Look.
I guess. I feel a little uncomfortable right now.
No, Steven, you come in here and my pants are off half the time, don't you?
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
like walk around and my just or change my pants. I'm like, oh, I got to put on my jeans. Hold on, and I just pull my pants down and put on my jeans.
You should just do RAWtalk with like just no pants on. Actually, that'd be more uncomfortable.
Well, you could. You may see it in the ultra wide angle lens. Yeah. So we live in an amazing time, and part of that was triggered by this thing called the Monarchy. This kid had an idea. He's like 8 years old or something, and Hanukkah is falling on Thanksgiving for the first time ever, and the only time in our lifetime. What?
I'm going to reset the cameras.
All right. So for our only time in our lifetime, Thanksgiving and Hanukkah are falling on the same time. So he had this idea that I should come up with a Monarchy. It's a menorah that's shaped like a turkey, and his dad helped him put it on Kickstarter, and I sent an email to his dad because I promoted it, and I bought one, and he's like, I did this to show my son that you can have an idea and you can be successful. You can put it out there and do something, and it's getting national publicity. It's still up on Kickstarter, and it's raised. It's going to happen. The last time I checked, it was at 26,000, and they were only looking for 25,000. It may be higher than that now. I haven't looked in like 5 days.
This kid's how old?
The kid's like 8 or 9. His dad helped him.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The kid had the idea. The kid designed it in a CAD program, and then the MakerBot people help him print out some of them.
Wow.
To make it, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Because MakerBot's awesome, and it's just an idea that if you have an idea and you go and you do something with it, that you can be successful. It just takes work. So go ahead and read that. Just look for "We Live in an Amazing Time." It's on the website. And yeah. And moving on, last week I had on Shawn Corrigan, Corrigan, RAWtalk episode 50. Shawn was talking about flying home. He was going from here to the airport. So guess what? He got his Uber cab. He went from here to the airport. And then I got a text around 2:30, which he was flying out around 11:45, which means I shouldn't have been getting a text from him at 2:30 if he was going back to LA. I'm like, Shawn, what are you doing? He's like, I'm still at the airport. I changed my flight. I got a call from a client who's in New York, and they need me to do something on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Wow.
So he's like, I changed my flight, or I canceled, or whatever he did. He's like, so this is the thing. I'm like, he's like, you want to assist me? And then anybody who listened to the RAWtalk last week, I was like, I'd love to assist you. So he called me and we talked about it, about being an assistant for him on these video shoots. He had to do video interviews of EDM artists, which was electronic dance music. One girl's name was Bambi, and the other guy's name is, I can't remember. Bambi is a Canadian. She's from Toronto.
Yeah.
She's hot.
With the name Bambi, I would assume she is.
She doesn't go by DJ. On Twitter, she's DJ Bambi.
Yeah.
But her name's Bambi.
DJ Bambi in the house.
Yeah, but Bambi. So it was, what was he doing it for? It was doing it for...
You told me, but I forget.
Something EDM. Epic EDM, I believe, is the channel that they created. So...
Cool.
I was the assistant. And I want to talk about assisting. What makes a good assistant, what you're supposed to do. I didn't take any cameras up, Steven. I wasn't going to shoot. That wasn't my job. My job was not to shoot. My job was to be an assistant. That means I'm the eyes, the ears. I move stuff. I set up tripods. I set up lights, which I set up some Kino flows. I set up a GoPro. I brought the GoPro for a third angle. He didn't ask me to bring it. I put gaff tape in my bag just in case we need it. He's like, I forgot gaff tape. I'm like, I brought gaff tape.
Right here.
And that is what an assistant does, is you think about things before you get to the shoot, because the photographer has a million other things to worry about.
Yeah.
And your job is to make sure
things.
that you have those things for him, like chargers for iPods and iPhones and all of that. Excuse me.
Make sure everything goes smooth in general.
And keep your eyes open, like if the light is pointed in the wrong way, or if the record button's not blinking on the camera. Just little things like, is everything good? Are you happy with what's going on? What are you looking at?
Just levels. Yeah.
Oh, all right. You threw me off.
No, you're like, make sure the record button's blinking, and I'm like, ours is blinking.
That's what it was?
No, ours is fine.
So we went in the morning, we rented some gear. I met him there, took the train up. Speaking of Bambi, the train was DOA, stopped on the tracks dead for 20 minutes. Well, we hit Bambi. We hit a deer.
What? Nuh-uh.
The train hit a deer, and it ripped a hose off the locomotive, but they were able to fix it a little bit later. So we were 20 minutes late, and they came over. They're like, we're sorry for the inconvenience. We hit a deer.
We just killed Bambi.
Right. So anyway, we kept going. I got there, took a cab, met... what's his name? Shawn, where we were picking up the gear, loaded up all the bags, carried it out. We each had like 4 bags, 5 bags. He had his bags. I just had my little backpack with some stuff in it, loaded into a taxi, met at the first place, set up everything in the first place, broke down, waited around a while, went to the second location, which was at a hotel in like a suite where there were a bunch of EDM loving people there hanging out, swimming and rolling and tripping, but they weren't really rolling and tripping. I didn't say it. They were just drinking. And we had a cool interview there. That was a quicker one. He set up the camera. I set up a GoPro. I set up a light. We work together. He doesn't really have to worry about, like, I asked him, where do you want the light? What are you looking for?
Because he deals with a lot of lighting and stuff like that?
Well, he does. Basically, he was doing video for this, a video interview. We did 2 angles. He did a wide angle with a C300 Canon, and right next to it, he had the 5D Mark III with a 70-200 on it that he followed both subjects so they could cut to that.
So he owns a C300?
No, we rented that.
That day?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We rented that, and he was going to use it for the weekend also, because he did behind the scenes stuff with Tiesto. Tiesto's huge in EDM, so he was on a tour bus. He was there just to do B-roll of stuff for the show. I mean, just this job showed up. I don't think he knew these people before, but somebody recommended him, and he could make it happen. See, what Shawn is great at, he knows video, and because he was on the road with musicians for so long, he knows audio as well.
Yeah.
So he not only monitors the audio, we had wireless microphones. We were having issues on different frequencies, so he changed the channels. I mean, the stuff that he did, I couldn't do myself, and he was going to do this himself. He would have been able to do it, but I offered to assist. I didn't get paid for it. He just paid for my travel and for lunch and stuff, which is fine because I wanted to do it. Assisting I really never fully did it. But I recommend if anybody can get an assisting gig with anybody, it's a fantastic time. It's a lot of pressure, but you learn so much about photography. I just love the fact that it made me feel good that I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was just like,
it's reassuring.
I know what I'm doing because I put something up where he wanted it without him asking me. That is what assisting is about, anticipation. You anticipate what the photographer is going to need. You're their eyes, their ears, their nose if you need to smell something, and you just make sure stuff is where it belongs and you take direction. And you carry bags. I carried bags, you know? I mean, that's what I was supposed to do. And I had a great time doing it. It's you know, I was in by, I got on a 6:46 train. 6:46 a.m., got into New York, met him at 9:30 or 9:15, went over to the first location, set up, shot, waited till 12:40, go to the second location, set up quickly, only had like a 5 or 8 minute interview. We had no time to set up, but we got it done. We only used one light at that point.
I was gonna say, how much time did you have to set up? Because I've done a lot of interviews with like high-end artists, and like it's either, you know, you have 30 minutes or you have like 2 minutes, like right then and there.
The first one we had about 45 minutes to do until Bambi got there.
Pretty good.
And then the next one, they finished an interview, then we jumped in, and they wanted us to shoot as soon as we were ready.
Yeah.
So I got the GoPro set up with a second angle, a third angle, just so it was something else. And he had his stuff set up. I had the light set up, and we were good to go. Make sure all the bags are packed in the corner, stacked together, and then I had to go back and return it on my way to the train station. So I dropped it back off, and that was it.
Did he actually ask the questions? Like, was he actually?
No, he didn't. There was a producer.
Okay, so all those people were there.
Right. He was the camera guy, but he would also say, "Hey, do you guys want to do let's redo the intro just for a safety."
That's cool.
Which is just in case. And if there was a pop in the sound, he's like, "Okay, start back that question again, please."
Oh, nice.
But he wasn't afraid. Like, he's like, "You got to go back to that point." He just said it like, I mean, he did it like he was a producer.
Yeah, nice.
He was solid right on.
Cool.
So
that's how you got to be when you're especially dealing with that kind of high-end stuff.
Yeah, I just think you guys need to try to assist somebody, even if you're a professional. And it's just fantastic to go out there and
it's probably refreshing too.
Well, it was refreshing because
get told what to do.
I'm not shooting. Yeah, I want to get told every once in a while.
Yeah.
I say, Meg, tell me what to do every once in a while. But she's probably not listening. I don't think she's ever listened to one of my podcasts yet. Luckily.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw something in the background. That was the Kino flow that's over there. But no, my experience was awesome. So I want to do a bunch of videos on what makes a good assistant. And we'll probably set that up and come up with some quick 4-minute tips or 3-minute quick tips for being an assistant, and maybe come out with a free guide or something. Actually, I know that Shawn wrote a guide, so he said I can get that and we can share that with everybody.
Cool.
So I think we'll move on to the next thing, but really the assisting was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've actually really only assisted like once or twice in my life, and I wish I did it more. I wish I had time to do it.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff. Like, I would love to do it, but just the fact that I'm already doing so much, I just can barely take on anything else.
All right. I almost forgot the gear of the day.
The gear of the day.
I didn't do that last week. I forgot to do it last week because we were busy.
After.
But this is the Big Shot camera. I saw it posted online. I saw an article, so I contacted the company. I was like, I want to try one. And for anybody that doesn't know what this is, you can't see it if you're sitting at home. It is a camera that comes with, it's not set up. It's not built. Not just set up.
You literally build it yourself.
You literally build it. Anybody watching it at home on YouTube, you can see the back of it here. It comes with all the pieces you need to build it. It's like one of those transistor things that they had back at Radio Shack back in the day that you put a bunch of wires and stuff together. This is an $89
3-megapixel sensor.
3-megapixel sensor. You know what the guy said to me on the phone? He's like, just don't rip it. I'm like, first off,
don't rip the sensor?
Well, he's like, don't rip the the image quality. And I'm like, look, I understand that this is a I understand it's an $89 camera. I'm not going to compare it to a D4.
Exactly.
The point of this
the
is
quality
so that
is not expected to be like insanely awesome.
No, the point is that you build it.
It's just cool.
We're going to set up a GoPro as I attempt to build this. I don't know how long it's going to take. It says from ages 8 to 108. So if I gave it to Lil still falls under this.
You should do that, dude. We should have her build it, and then we should have an 8-year-old or something.
Yeah, Lil building this would be like, huh? I'm not doing, screw this.
What is this?
What? I can't do this.
It's the sensor. I could scratch this, right?
And so anyway, I'm going to set this up. I'm going to build this. I think it's a great gift for kids that like science.
That is really cool.
And that's what they wanted to do.
Nice.
They want it for people to build. I mean, I want to build the camera. It has a crank for charging the battery, recharging the battery.
Oh, is that how you do it?
That's one way you can do it. So it's got onboard memory.
There's no batteries. You literally build it from yourself, and everything just powers itself.
It has a battery in there it's a rechargeable
internal
battery.
Yeah.
I think you recharge it with USB, but if you need extra juice, you spin the wheel, the dymo or whatever, the motor, whatever they call it. It comes with everything you need, and it does 3D. It does some other things. It has a bunch of different lenses on it. It's going to be fun. That's why I asked them to send it to me, and I'm probably going to buy one for my cousin. He's 12 years old or 11 years old, and I'm going to go from there.
Yeah, it's a cool thing just to have, just to build it and see if you can actually. I want to see how the quality is. Well, for being something I'm not expecting it to be the great, like even compared to the iPhone or something, but still, I'm sure it's probably decent.
I just think it's for the fun of being able to build something.
Yeah,
to be able to build it and say that I built this camera from scratch, like I don't live in China and work at a factory.
It's like if you like building model cars, this could be something that you're into.
All right. How are we doing on time?
We're good. We're 45 minutes in already.
So we're going to go over.
Conversation.
The main and
we got about 9 more minutes till we have to reset these cameras.
Now we're going to talk about the crux of this episode, which is Made in America. Steven and I both separately photographed the Made in Jay Z. They took Jay Z's name off of it this year for some reason.
Yeah,
but it's Made in America, which is a Made in America festival in Philadelphia. They have indie rock, they have rock, they have rap, they have EDM, and they have whatever. No country.
No country.
We said the same thing. No country. So. It's a big 2-day festival on the Parkway. If you know where Rocky ran up the stairs, that's the Philadelphia Museum of Art. That is where the major stage is. They get 60,000 people out there. Day one was really busy. Beyonce was playing that night. I don't even remember the rest on day one anymore.
Phoenix,
Beyonce. Fits in the Tantrum was day 2.
That was day 2.
The major act was 9 Inch Nails on day 2 and Queens of the Stone Age.
Was day 1, I think.
Walk the Moon.
There's a whole bunch.
Wiz Khalifa was day 2.
Kendrick Lamar.
Miguel. Macklemore.
Macklemore was great.
Yeah.
He was the highlight for me. I don't know about you.
Oh, I told you to go watch Macklemore.
So good.
Macklemore is great live.
But we couldn't photograph him.
No, we'll get to that.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
So, should I complain? I made that note from earlier. I complained the first day really bad. I'm like, I don't know why I did this. Why did I agree to do this? Well, let me tell you how.
You complained both days, definitely.
Yeah, but I got to say, I was really feeling good when I got home after day 1. I was like, I'm glad I did this. But let me tell you how I got this pass. First off, I wasn't going to shoot the show. I was supposed to get a pass from somebody, and they ended up not coming through with it for whatever reason. And then I got a call from Steven because one of the other guys that we normally shoot with, Scott Wiener, couldn't do the shoot. So they were trying to find somebody. They needed somebody to fill in. So I was like, okay, I'll call. Scott and I talked, and he's like, okay, call this guy. So I call this guy on the phone, and I go, hey, it's Jared Polin. Scott Wiener said you needed a photographer. He's like, that name sounds familiar. I'm like, FroKnowsPhoto? And he's like, oh, Fro, it's you. And my next comment was, so I don't need to tell you who I am or what I do in order to get the job. And he's like, nope. He's like, you got it. I'm glad. I love your stuff. So I got a bunch of information. It was all weird. I wish it wasn't so last minute because it kind of led to some issues.
It was literally the day before.
It was Friday and the show was Saturday.
I gave it to you.
Yeah, and they didn't give me much information. Like, I'm shooting through this company, which then syndicates to this company, which may work with Live Nation. So I wasn't really sure.
It's a cluster F.
It was weird. But I got my pass, I got access, and then I get there and I'm like, why did I do this? I'm like, why did I agree to do this?
Well, you were good
again?
up until like 3 o'clock, like halfway through, and you're like, I want to go home.
I'm like, I just want to go sit and do other work.
I could have been doing all this stuff for the website, blah, blah, blah. I'm like,
I know.
Just enjoy it, dude.
I did. I like it, but, we're in the pit. The stage is pretty far away.
The stages sucked for shooting, sure.
If you didn't have 200 or all I shot with was a 70 to 200.
You should have had 70 200 and a 300.
And a 300.
You would have been good.
I didn't want, but instead of the 300, I took the juice. I took Gatorade, water, food for us.
Yeah.
Because that was my backpack. I used that new turnstile something from Think Tank that they sent because if you don't want to pass out.
And
I mean, they were pulling
all your
people out of
candy
the
melted.
pit. And all my candy melted, unfortunately, but it didn't make a mess in my bag.
Yeah.
So I brought that here. But the experience overall was fine. I've got a bunch of notes here.
It was good. Yeah, go on your notes and we'll chat about it.
Well, the big thing I wrote on top was balls shaking on the speaker for the first rap act.
Shaking on the speaker.
Well, when we're standing in front of the massive subwoofers,
dude.
not even just your balls. It's just your heart. It's like when you're standing there trying to breathe.
Like you're getting blown away.
You can barely breathe. And I was just looking at some guy's pants. I wasn't looking at his ass, but his jeans were doing this. They were shaking.
Yeah.
Because of how the pressure. So if you do not have earplugs, you are freaking crazy.
I saw some people without earplugs.
They didn't
and I'm like,
have them.
how do you not? I was giving some out because I had some extra, one of those just one-off ones, and I gave a few out, but I got to the point where I was like, I can't keep giving these out. But so many people, I would say half the photographers there didn't have earplugs, which you need them.
Especially for a show like this. It's in front of 60,000 people in a wide open area. It's not like the sound's going to resonate.
I would say it was louder this year than last year.
It was louder day 2.
Definitely day 2, yeah.
I don't know why. Maybe because less people.
Wasn't it Fitz we were saying? Was
Fitz
like
and the
really
Tantrum
loud?
sounded really loud.
Yeah.
But in terms of shooting, I haven't really shot for an agency in a long time, if at all. I mean, a very long time. But what they look for is they want you to edit and deliver almost the same day, well, if not the same minute or hour. They want you to sit and I didn't take my laptop to sit and do that in the tent. I did have time to do it. I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it at home. I wanted to focus in on the shooting.
Plus, the reason I didn't bring one to upload on site is because last year a girl got like all her camera lenses stolen.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are like L lenses. Like
Yeah.
she got like $6,000 stolen. And this year I didn't have an assistant or anyone with me.
Do I need to do this?
Yeah, if you want to do that now. I didn't have anyone with me or anything like that, so I didn't want to leave a laptop sitting in the media tent, especially when there's 100 people walking around. When last year, all that stuff got stolen. I mean, this girl, half her bag got stolen. I felt so bad. And she was from like Australia or something like that, I think. From New York. Well, she had an Australian accent, didn't she?
She was foreign, but she was from New York.
Okay, and she was just livid because they were her personal lenses.
That's why I didn't bring the 300-2.8 because I wasn't going to carry it around all day. I knew that shooting Beyonce, that I would have to be shooting from the back, which we'll talk about that in a minute. But what the agency wants from me is you have to caption everything, you have to tag everything, you have to then upload it to the FTP server, which was really simple. Everything ended up being simple.
What's the program they wanted you to use?
Well, they suggested Photo Mechanics,
tagging
which is what I know Fusco uses for tagging and captioning and metadata. I just used Lightroom. I put it into one of the files and then I synced the files with the same metadata, and that was perfect. So I delivered the files quickly. I came home, shot raw, edited those files, then uploaded the selects, the best of the best of the best with honors, sir. And that's what I did. But I got that call. They're like, they want more Beyonce shots. Live Nation wants more Beyonce shots. And I'm like, Live Nation? I'm like, so it was just confusing. If I was shooting for them, I should have had more access. But anyway, I'm like, I delivered them 5 photos. The Beyonce shots are nothing spectacular. We had to shoot from the very back near the soundboard, which is a good 100 yards away. Ish, a football field, or maybe half a football field,
I would
or a
say
little
half,
more.
probably.
Maybe 50 or 60 yards away from the stage.
Yeah.
I had the 70-200. One guy in the pit had an 800. He also had a 600. Gilbert.
He had an 800 with him?
He had an 800 5.6.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, you're crazy. He's like, I don't like it that much. It's great, but it's $18,000.
The thing that blows my mind is that he actually owns these lenses. He didn't rent half of them.
No,
right?
he owns them all. He has 4 D4s and a bunch of other stuff.
That's crazy.
He's got a lot of gear. That's
awesome. I mean, I wish I had that.
He is a paparazzi.
He is.
That's what he does around Philly, and he's probably listening. But that's what he does. That's his living.
And he's good at it. I mean, he does what he's got to do.
I don't agree with it. We've talked about it. I don't like, so I stand outside of a hotel and somebody tipped me off that so-and-so's walking out. If that's your job,
lifestyle.
then that's your thing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not my thing. I'm not doing that. Mm-hmm. But he had the 800 at 5.6, which I would rather shoot the 400-2.8. That's what he ended up using, was the 400-2.8, which gives a good shot. But my shots from the back with the 70-200, nothing special. You have to fight between microphone shots where her microphone in the mouth.
And the legs, some with the legs, right?
You cut off the feet. Everybody cut off the feet because there was like a lip and there were lights, and then there was arms and people waving their cell phones in the way. And we only had one song to shoot. Part of that song is basically in the dark. And then the lights go on. Then she's dancing. She works her ass off. She puts on a great show, but that's not great for photos.
Because you try and like capture that moment, and you get her like midway, like Super Bowl.
Honestly, if they gave us 2 songs, and we're like, then you could get better moments. But the reason I delivered 5 is because there were the 5 that I thought were the best.
Yeah. No microphones shots,
in the mouth.
Whatever.
The hair was moving. She was smiling, or she didn't have a bad look on her face. You have to be careful. And they're like, well, can you send us more? I'm like,
well, especially after what happened, you should be more careful now. Yeah.
And they asked me, they're like, can you send us more? There's only 5. I'm like, you realize we had 1 song. They're like, we normally get 20. I'm like, I have more than 5 shots. but they're not worthy, and I'm not sending them out because I don't want my name associated with pictures
Just
that are going to
fillers.
look bad.
Yeah.
So I just told them that. I'm like, it's unfortunate we didn't have. I was told that I may have been able to get closer, but I don't really know that was possible. It would have been nice if I knew who I was shooting with. So in the future, I hope that we can work together and get more on the same page.
Well, if you were shooting for Live Nation that day, you probably could have gotten
I could have
center
done different
stage
things.
or something.
Well, yeah, maybe because the other
the
guy
pit.
was halfway up the pit. He talked his way there, but that's because of who he is.
Yeah.
But he was shooting with an 80 to 400 also all day. Like, I
Which
get it.
is nice just to be able to carry around one lens. And
I
that
get
be
it. I
good.
get it for shooting during the day. I do not get it for shooting at night.
Yeah.
It's not that freaking bright.
Is that a 5.6?
It's,
when you get
well,
the
it's out
400?
to 5.6, if not even 6.3 out at 400.
Yeah.
You know, it's a okay lens. The VR's fine. I guess I don't care because they're shooting the stuff that goes. It's not history making stuff. It's we need it out instantly making stuff.
Yeah.
And I came up with a slogan, and by no means, I don't even want to say it. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it, but I don't mean it. Like, I don't mean it. So anybody without good glass, please don't take offense to this. I just thought it sounded funny. When you're a pro, show some class, break out some glass. All right. What are you going to shoot? It's like shooting with a kid. Okay, whatever. It was just a joke. It wasn't meant to be serious, people. So don't rip me a new one for saying show some class, break out some glass. It was just funny at the time. What are you looking at?
I thought it was funny.
It is funny, but it makes sense. It's like break out the 800 at 5.6. Don't break out the 800 5.6. That's an $18,000 lens. I don't know
That's
where he's...
that blows my mind that he had that.
It is blowing my mind. By the
And
way...
did he have it on sticks or did he?
No, he hand holds all that stuff.
Wow.
He has the Black Rapid attached to his hip. He puts the Canon, it's a Nikon, over his shoulder. Guys call it a Canon because it looks like a freaking Canon ball. You're gonna
Literally,
shoot
yeah,
out of it.
yeah.
But yeah, he carries it over his shoulder like he's a lumberjack.
Wow.
Yeah. So how was your experience?
It was good overall. I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wish the pits were not as packed as they were. I wish the photo rules weren't as...
Oh, yes.
That saved us
Well,
so
look,
much.
before we talk about this, you brought up the pits. The second stage...
Yeah, they screwed us on that.
They screwed us on that. We're supposed to shoot 3 songs of just about everybody.
And that's the smaller stage, too, keep in mind.
Smaller stage, smaller pit. There were
Smaller
like
artists.
75 photographers all together. Day 1, there were less. And day 2, there were more wannabes. There really were. There were more wannabes day 2. Either
agree.
people with just small DSLRs shooting video and taking up space and not following the rules. Day 1 was fine. There's people there. They're shooting for newspapers. There was one girl. She'll probably listen. She had the 5D, the Mark II that they gave her. She's a writer. So you can't hold that against her. We tried helping her.
They were out of photographers, right?
Well, they threw her out there to do an article and get photos, but they threw her into the pit with a 16 to 35. I'm like, what are you going to... I'm like, I would focus on shooting the crowd because you're not going to get anything on the stage. I'm barely filling the frame at 200.
Exactly. Like, even with a 24 to 70, that wouldn't be even close.
But she had a point and shoot, so she got photos for both. We helped her out. She got some stuff. I sent her a free video guide yesterday.
Oh, cool.
I'm going to send... Because she doesn't know her settings.
And that's fine because she's naturally a reporter, not a photographer.
Right, and she said that
she admitted
to us.
to that. And
it was totally fine. We weren't going to rip on her anyway.
Yeah.
But I sent her a free guide so that she could learn because she was asking questions like, how do I do this? And I was like, okay, let's do this. And then she figured it out. So that was cool.
And wasn't she shooting in full manual too?
She was in full manual, so I don't know how she was doing it.
That's what I mean. I don't understand that. But kudos to her for trying.
But she got there. And then there was Pete. Pete's the guy that we hang out with.
Pete.
With the glasses.
Pete. He was in the tall one?
No, not the really tall guy, but
Pete.
The other guy with I forget what shirt he had on, but he has the Canon.
Yes,
he has the 7200.
He was the first guy we saw the first day, right away.
Yeah.
Cool.
Pete's a cool guy. I like talking to Pete.
Yeah.
He's fun to talk to. We sit there and have nice discussions. He's got into photography like a year ago, I believe.
Oh, really?
But he's gotten into different shows. And
who was he shooting for? Do you know?
It was some magazine.
Oh, wow.
But
good for him.
But he's getting paid by some people. Other times he's not. But it's just cool who you run into at these things. I like hanging out with him because he doesn't give us crap. We don't give him crap. We have nice discussions. Most people don't give crap to each other. There are a few people that are just going to stand in front of you and push you around. But anyway, I was talking about the second stage. The second stage... There's a pit there that's smaller. It was packed last year, but everybody got in there. So after the first act today, we go back to the second act, and they're like, you need to be escorted now into the pit. Only 20 photographers at a time. You must stand on the plywood. You must get out after the first song, and you must go the other way.
So that's why they put the plywood there.
No, the plywood was there for the camera people.
Oh, okay.
The guys doing video.
I didn't understand that, why they made us like move up to that section. I guess for the security guards or something?
First off, the stage was high, and it's higher on the right side than it is on the left side. So I went into the pit to shoot one of the artists, and then after one song, they sent us out the other side of the pit.
Into the crowd.
You had to get around this massive crowd. It took me 25 minutes to get through the crowd with all of my gear. By the time I got back to the tent, there were people, the media tent, people were complaining to the PR people, right? So I was going to go back to complain nicely. That we need to figure something out. We get over there and they're like, this is how it's going to be. You have to go through the pit the other way because we have to bring the other photographers in. And I'm like, I'm not going to walk through that crowd again. I was just pretty definitive, but I was not yelling. Was I yelling?
No, you weren't. You weren't yelling. You were very confident in your response.
I was very confident because if 75 photographers just took it, if we just took what they said at face value and was like, oh, well, we're going to have to just listen to them because they're the PR people. They're two people. If we're 50, we can do whatever the hell we want if we really want.
I don't think it was their decision, though. I think it was security.
They said security. That's bullshit, too.
Because security seemed to overrun their decision on everything.
Whatever. Yeah. We wouldn't have had a problem in the pit. They were like, well, if somebody comes over, we need to get somebody out of the pit, blah, blah.
We weren't asking for anything crazy. No. We were just asking to go back out the same way we went in.
Exactly.
That's all.
And Steven, basically, we didn't get the answer we wanted right away. They basically said, well, this is how it's going to be. And I said, well, I'm going to do whatever I want. I said that to myself. And then Steven turns to me after we walk away. He goes, you don't take no for an answer, do you?
Yeah.
And I was like, no. I'm like, but I wasn't a dick, right? Because I wanted to make sure. But I was being aggressive. And I was like,
definitely aggressive.
I said, there's a solution here. Just have the photographers come out the same way they went in. Then put the other ones back to shoot and give them like a song and a half instead because they missed part of the first song.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get 3 songs anyway. So
you had brought up the 4-song rule, right?
Well,
remember?
It's 3-song rule, but I was like, why don't you let them one shoot for 2? Bring them out and let them shoot for 2. It's just one extra song and everybody gets a fair shake. But anyway, they ended up doing 1. Like you would go in for 1 song. If you were the first group, you could go back out and then wait till the third group goes in, which is usually less. So you could technically get more than 1 song. You didn't really need it.
Oh, I didn't know they let you in for another.
The third, yeah, if you wanted to get back in for the third time.
I only shot that stage a couple times anyway.
I stopped going over there because of that.
Such a pain.
And it's not a great stage. But we got our way. Because we were now able to come back out the right way. They got it.
Yeah.
And if you don't stand up as a group together and just let somebody tell you how it's going to be, you're not going to be... We could not walk through that crowd again. It was a crush. There was no way around it.
Well, I had to, for example, I had to meet my friends or something like that on the other side of that crowd. So I had to literally walk through the center, and it took me, I think, a half an hour just to get by that, whatever it was, 50 yards or whatever.
It wasn't very far.
It was insane.
But it was hard.
It was way more overpacked this year. If you try to get to say the main stage to the Freedom stage, which was more farther back on the Parkway, it took you an hour close to that just to walk to one side to the other. And
let's talk about the stools.
Yes.
I have a stool. Steven picked this up for me at CVS, I believe, back in the day.
Pretty in pink.
I asked for the pink one for anybody not being able to see it.
CVS.
This is the pink step stool. Steven now has a newer one that's taller than mine.
I upgraded.
This was like $8, I believe.
Yeah, it was like $7.99 or something.
At festivals, these are great because the stages tend to be higher. You tend to stand behind people sometimes. I did it personally. I stood near the stage and stood on the step stool. That was the only way to get above the speakers and get some shots of people without those speakers in the way. And if people were behind me not able to get the shot, then it was what it was.
But there was plenty of room to move around, especially the main stage.
Yeah.
And that's where you needed it.
Yeah, so standing on this at the main stage is needed. You're not really blocking anybody's view because the stage is so big. This step stool will come, even if it's about a foot. It's about a foot. It's a little less than that. It's
and
probably about 9 inches.
Goes up to about here.
Yours is probably a foot tall.
A little bigger, yeah.
And it helps. So if you can pick up one of these stools for like $8, I rolled it around with my bag all day. I stood on it when I needed it. I stood down when I didn't. When I wasn't shooting. Like if I was waiting for something to happen, I stepped down so somebody else could shoot or watch behind or or see behind me. But this stool was really great to have.
And it folds up. You can strap it along where your tripod would go or whatever on your bag or there's got to be some kind of compartment you can put it in.
Yeah, and I put it on my rolling bag because I just put it down through the handle and then rolled with it. And it was perfect. So that was great. I mean, overall.
That saved me.
Well, the food, we ordered pizza one day. We had somebody deliver us pizza, which was great. Deliver it to the media tent, please. 3 pizzas. And we did, and that was good. No, we only got 2. We got 2 pizzas. But the experience is fine. Live shows, when you're shooting with 50 or 60 other people, it's like you're all going to get the same shot.
Yeah, that's unless you have different access,
Unless you have different access. I mean, I don't know what this agency has sold, so I wasn't getting paid to shoot for anybody that was there. I didn't get paid to shoot. I get paid if any of those images that I submitted sell. And they think it will sell. I mean, it went to a big agency, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I am glad that
Steven, I just drew on the table. I got it out.
They supplied the photographers with water this year. Last year they had nothing.
They didn't have water last year?
No, not that I remember. I mean, last year I remember I brought my own like Gatorade or whatever it was, and I needed it. This year we brought it because we thought we would need it.
Well, I brought Gatorade because I'd rather drink that than water.
Yeah, but at least they had like 60 stacks of water. But they only bought enough for the one day, so the second day they didn't have like any left.
But they dropped more off.
They dropped more off later, yeah, so it wasn't that bad.
I like hanging out I like hanging out in the media tent.
It's nice because you can get away from that crowd and just have,
and talk to people.
And there's private porta potties back there too for us.
Oh God, day 2, that porta potty on the left was no go.
Yeah, but imagine what the main festival porta potties were like.
Pretty
disgusting,
dirty.
I'm sure.
Pretty dirty.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that covers just about everything about Made in America.
Made in America.
I don't know if I'll do it again. I say that now.
You say it now, and then the week of, you're going to be like, let me get a pass.
What I forgot to say is I didn't have a pass. Then come Saturday, I got 2 phone calls from 2 different people.
Oh, yes.
I get one from the PR guy at Live Nation going, I found a way for you to shoot. I was like, I already got a pass. He's like, this would not be as much fun because you're shooting backstage, but it paid. It was like $1,000. I was like, but I already agreed to this. So you can't screw somebody over.
And it was an easy gig, too.
It was an easy gig, but it probably wouldn't have been any fun. And I probably would have complained.
But
I probably would have gotten the food at the tent, at the catering.
You would have had catering.
I would have had catering. And then I got a call from somebody else going, somebody else needs some stuff for marketing. They never called me back the second time. Which was fine because they're like, it's like $300. I'm like, well, it depends what you need.
Oh yeah, you had told me that. They never
called me back.
Gave you details about it.
No, I never got details.
Okay.
But it was just so weird how I got those calls last minute.
Yeah.
But it's cool that you get calls. I mean, that's what happens. You meet other photographers and then you work together. And that's what I like about hanging out with meeting other people and talking.
That's the other thing, like you were saying about just talking with other photographers. It's nice that in between those sets, you usually have like a good half an hour or maybe even more, especially if you're shooting for like a specific, like I was shooting for a rock outlet, so I was only shooting the rock artist. We're pretty good on time, but it's nice to know that you can just sit down and just chat with other photographers and see what they do and what they're up to. And it's not just one, there's like 50 photographers, Yeah. It's cool.
But really, if you guys ever shoot shows like this, just talk to other people, be nice. Don't yell at anybody. Don't have an attitude. Just go in there, have fun.
Don't get in the way.
A lot of people are going to help you. Yeah. Don't do the let's hold a camera up in the air and block. Especially if you're in the front and you're holding up your camera, it's just really annoying. It's those. I saw a lot of people doing the hold the camera up and then they hold their strap like that's going to stabilize something. You can't see the screen and you're just shooting stuff and then you're hoping I hate that, Steven.
I do too.
I hate it. I hate it. All right, to wrap it up, don't forget about the Rode microphone thing that's going on. Get a free copy of Red Giant's Pluralize 3 audio syncing software valued at $199 when you buy a Rode Video Mic Pro or Stereo Video Mic Pro from any authorized Rode dealer. Offer only valid for purchases made in this month. So check that out, Rode. We like using their microphones, but that's the deal that they wanted me to talk about. And don't forget about Nikon Allen's-a-Palooza or Allen's Nikon-a-Palooza. Please tweet or Facebook us at which one you like, Nikon Allen's-a-Palooza or Allen's Nikon-a-Palooza. September 21st, 2013, 11 to 4 p.m. There's a tent. It's at 4401 New Falls Road.
Taco truck.
4401 New Falls Road, Levittown, PA. 10% off all used gear, giving away Nikon D70-100, thousands of dollars in giveaways, which is great. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope to see you guys there. And Steven, that's all I got.
Nice.
How long do we go?
Not too long. An hour and 9 minutes. So.
Oh, that's not bad. That's why we didn't fly solo, because we had so much to talk about this week.
It would have been way longer if we had flying solo. It would have been a 2-hour show.
Oh, boy. So for all of the photo news, Check out FroKnowsPhoto.com/podcast. This is episode number 51. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so that you can have it automatically downloaded, or any other podcast software, that it will hit your phone when it goes live. I try to make them go live now Monday at midnight. I think works better because it's the night before. Yeah, Monday at midnight?
No, Sunday at midnight.
Sunday at midnight.
Yeah.
Well, so it's Monday at 12 a.m.
Pretty much,
So they go live Monday at 12 a.m. so that you can download it, or it's there in the morning for when you're going to work or whatever you're going to do. You have the audio, and then we try to follow up on Tuesday or late Monday night with the actual video podcast portion. But remember, first things first, this is an audio podcast. That's why we sit at microphones. We still want it to look good if you're going to watch it on your TV or everything, but it's first things first, an audio podcast with,
yes, sir,
with video as well. So Steven, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And that's RAWtalk episode number 51, Made in America. Thank you guys very much. Jared Polin, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.